Switch.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Now, we are joined by 10th Man and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so a warm welcome to you, one and all.
Hey, hey, Chocolate's here, Sleeping Warrior's here.
Hello, Chocolate, and hello, Sleeping Warrior.
Good morning.
Nathan, would you like me to do the housekeeping questions?
That'd be wonderful. Yes, please.
All right. Discord, please respond if you can. Any signs of Earth curvature?
Can I offer an opposite? Oh.
Sure.
Is that a bit of feedback? Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Could I offer the fact that the level is horizontal, therefore the water level is horizontal, and
Of course.
therefore the water level in a canal would also be horizontal. So
I concur with that. I would love to hear if there is a glober that would
is no
not
curvature.
concur with that.
Any Globers? This is your chance.
No.
I guess
they
not.
always seem to think that, well, the water level's horizontal, that's all right.
Bev, I think what you said just makes too much sense. You know, water level being level and all that. that might be too actually sensical. So yeah, that's. Guess we can move on.
I guess no one's going to take on horizontal today. All right. Any signs of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
Nah, we're not moving.
How about Discord? Very quiet today, these Globers. All right. Any scientific evidence for gravity?
Nope.
Hello.
Did you have something to add? Dispute everything? Despite
Dispute?
everything?
Sorry, I
ahead.
didn't.
Go ahead.
You're free to talk.
Sorry, I didn't
Dispute
hear
everything.
the question.
Any scientific?
Hold on 1 second, 10th Man. Did you have something to add? Is it?
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
was joking. Scientific evidence for curvature. If you see mirage, you can see curvature.
Sorry, if you can see a mirage, you can see curvature.
Yeah, that was a joke.
Can you expand on that? Hold on, can you just expand on it? I don't understand.
If you can see mirage, then mean that curvature is somewhere there. Something like that.
I don't really follow your example. Maybe I'm being a bit
He said
thick.
it was a joke. He said it was a joke.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
So,
it was a joke.
oh, I see. So asserting things are mirages and then linking that back to curvature is curvature. I see. No, it isn't. Thank you. Anybody else?
Okay.
Clearly not.
Absolutely not. All right. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the center of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Anybody? We all get taught this shit in school. You should all have evidence for it.
What was the question again?
Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the center of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Oh, hell no. No, there isn't.
In a books?
Come on.
In books? Not really evidence. Just
Yeah,
Narnia's in
only
books
in
too.
books.
Narnia's in books too.
How would we ever know if there's a core for almost 4,000 miles down when we haven't even gotten almost 8? Supposedly. I mean, that's just so nonsensical. It's fucking insane.
That's
Sorry.
very. Yeah, you wouldn't. That's just a fairy tale. You just made it up. Yeah, they teach it in school books, but there is absolutely no evidence for it.
Discord, you're going to speak up on this, or we're going to move on to number 5?
Now let's labor it out. Let's see if there's anybody out there with any evidence for their nonsense model that doesn't work, that they think works, that doesn't do anything.
Nope, there is none.
All right, we'll move on to number 5. Any evidence for the distance of the sun?
Before you move on, that's open to flat earthers as well, equally. Anybody.
Nope.
Hoppy. Go ahead.
No, there's none. There's
Fair
none.
enough.
It's a quiet day today on the level flat Earth.
Yeah.
Any evidence of the radius of the Earth, the R value?
Nope.
Tenth man, would you agree with me if I suggested that if nobody in Discord wants to converse, we should kick them all out, because the whole point of it is to have some kind of discussion? Nobody's going to speak, then can I not just kick them all out?
Well, move them to the other room at least, and let other people come on who may want to talk.
Well, I have a question, but it's not necessarily in the debate.
Go on.
Go ahead, man. What's your question?
Okay, do we all agree on the speed of light?
No, it's variable. It's not fixed.
Is there any information that you can give to me that I can look into?
Is there any, what did you say?
On
You
the
don't
speed
have
of light.
Google? You can't search?
Hold on. What's the purpose of your question? Is it just that you want to know more about light, or was there a tangent that you were going to draw?
It has to do with the lunar laser ranging experiment.
Okay, go ahead. Give us your context. Feel free. Mike's all yours.
Okay. They use photons of light to determine the distance from the Earth to the Moon.
Go on.
Hold on, Discord. I can't really hear people on Discord, and I have to use
We're waiting for
YouTube.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello.
We're waiting
And
for the
there's a
rest of it.
lag.
You're just surprisingly not getting interrupted, but we're just waiting for your conclusion.
You talking to me?
No,
I can hear
the other
myself
guy
on
who said
Discord, but I
photons
have to
aimed
use
at the moon.
YouTube.
Please complete your sentence.
Okay, so they shoot photons to the moon, and it's they shoot a lot of them, and they get back a reflection 2.5 seconds later. So I was wondering if there's any
And?
information on that where you had any discretionary information.
Are you on about the distance of the sun, ping reflections from Venus?
No, he's saying he's talking about measuring the moon.
Yeah, you described that yesterday.
I mean, when they shot lasers at the moon and reflect,
I was
they
wondering if there's
tried
any
to measure the photons coming back. That's what you're talking about, right?
You're talking about reflectors?
Yeah,
Shooting,
that's exactly what I'm
shooting
talking about.
light at the reflectors?
Yep.
So what's your question?
Yeah, but that's bullshit, man. I've never looked into it at all.
Well, I'd like to know what information that you know about that's.
Have you done the math yourself?
Math for what?
That's not no math. I've looked at the numbers, but I didn't see the math.
Well, they allegedly shooting a beam of light onto the surface of the moon where the allegedly left the reflectors from alleged moon mission. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
well, if you look into it, they'll tell you that the alleged beam, by the time it reaches the moon, it's 2 miles in diameter, dude. You know what 2 miles in diameter beam is? Now imagine that
Yeah,
thing.
they likened it to shooting a rifle like towards a moving dime.
Well, just continue the thought experiment. Now imagine
Mile
that 2 mile radius beam. Somewhere there, 1 pixel hits alleged reflector. I'm just entertaining your thought here, right? So what is the diameter of that little pixel coming back to Earth would be? It would be 2 miles. How many fucking photons can you fucking gather from 2 miles of which would be equivalent of like a handheld laser shooting from the moon to Earth? You're kidding me, right?
Hold on. There is an answer to that. If he doesn't know, I'll give it you. Do you know the answer to that question? Is it Teco? Whatever it is. Taco? They claim they get a couple
No,
back.
I don't.
Okay, no worries. They claim they get... Rebel. They claim they just get a couple back. 1 or 2. They're sending out tens of millions, but they only get a couple back. And in the duration they expect, based on the R value in the heliocentric model and the distance that places the moon at, they say within the time frame they're expecting, they get a couple of photons back. That's what they say.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm just entertaining the thought here. I'm just doing the thought experiment. But people forget to notice, and these assholes forget to mention, of course, conveniently. Meanwhile, as all this happens, allegedly Moon and Earth are in motion. So now if you factor in the motion, you will never, ever, even if all of that is true, be able to detect light reflecting from the moon.
No,
Because by the time it gets back, it will be way off, few miles away from your sensors. You will never be able to sense the light from the reflector. And
they claim
I don't
they
know
can.
if you know this, guys.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, Rebel, but they claim they can. They claim they get a couple of photons back. I'm just giving... The reason I'm giving you a hard time is because so far no one's actually debunked this claim yet. I've hinted at it in my summary, but no one's actually smashed it yet.
But
You're saying, no way, we're moving. Well, yeah, we're moving, but they claim they get a couple of back... They get, like... Just get my
Thing is, how do we even know what's coming back is coming from where they say it's coming from?
Yeah, but hold on a second. There's something else. the reflector that left on the moon is, I think it's called conduit reflector, which means it reflects light directly back to the source. It doesn't reflect just like a normal mirror would. Like if you shoot it at the angle, not like directly 90 degrees, let's say you shoot it at the 40 degrees, now it reflects back at you. That's the type of mirror that they have.
So you're
It's
a
like
reflector?
geometric-shaped little mirrors.
no worries.
So anyway, what I'm trying to say, that's the mirror that will reflect back to source. And if you're in motion, you will never catch the fucking reflection, ever.
Okay. I hear you.
So even if you give them all that, this entire experiment is a fiasco.
Okay, so you summarised it beautifully by saying even if you give them all that. In other words, if you beg the question with their model and their orbits and their R value and the distance that the moon is presupposed to be at and the return signal being in that time frame, even if you give them that, it's in motion. Well, there's a few ways. There's a few other things you could drop in there that are kind of inconsequential but used by the flat earthers. They claim to do this before the reflectors were there. That's one thing. Anybody? Any response to that? They claim
Yeah, I
to
knew
have done
that
it.
from looking at lunar conspiracy theories.
Yeah, they claim they've done it before. They even dropped the reflectors off there. So
They already had done it before.
Yeah, so they claim.
Reflectors were dropped off in a place that's in a medium that can't exist.
Oh, chocolate! Finally, here we go.
Bingo,
Go
bingo.
on, chocolate. Go ahead.
Yeah, nobody put any reflectors on the moon because it's in a vacuum that can't exist. So I don't
All right,
understand why
speaking
we
of which,
talk about the reflector thing.
is there a claim that there is a pressure gradient in a container, and therefore pressure gradient and the vacuum can coexist? Did somebody claim that?
Just we'll come to that, Rebel. But for the time being, the chap, how do you say your name? Teco Ham.
Taco Juan.
Taco Juan.
Taco Juan.
Taco Juan.
Taco Juan.
Taco Juan. Okay, Taco Juan. Do you appreciate that the claim involves them making a journey through a medium that doesn't exist to place these reflectors there, to then have a little woman stand in front of a computer and claim that the numbers that she sees on her computer readout are actually the return signal in exactly the time frame they've claimed based on a presupposition of an R value, and the distances these celestial bodies, physical though they are claimed to be, are at? You appreciate all of that, do you?
He's going to go over.
Say again?
No.
Okay, well, let's break that down. First and foremost, ignoring the fact that they've already claimed to have done it before these reflectors went there, they can't have placed reflectors on the moon because the region they travel to get there isn't real. That's the first problem. The next problem is, given that they've then claimed or pretended that these reflectors are there, we'll discount that because they haven't travelled through a fake medium to get to the moon. But we'll use the original assertion that it was done prior to travelling there without any need of reflectors. Now, the return signal, the timing for the return signal, is based on an assumption that Earth is a sphere, putting the moon at a given distance by manipulation of the angles when measuring it. So they've already decided how long the return signal will take, and they look at that particular time slot and say they happen to have had a couple of photons returned. Now, they're not showing anything in physicality. They're showing a computer monitor with somebody sat at it, and they go, yeah, look, that's exactly what I was expecting it to say in the time frame I was expecting. That's a couple of photons. My monitor says so.
Okay, so if you look at space.com, there's a article that says the moon flies through the Earth's atmosphere.
Okay. And?
So the atmosphere apparently extends beyond the moon. So that's a problem in itself.
What's atmosphere mean?
You can make any
air sphere.
You can make anything.
Oh, so guys, hello, I've got this. It's okay. Air sphere. So this air sphere comes along with the presupposition of your religious belief with it, does it? I'm talking about air. You're talking about air wrapped around a sphere, not escaping into gas. That presupposition extends to the moon, does it?
According to space.com, yes.
They're the purveyors of a fake medium, though, aren't they? Space. Well, the space they're referring to, outer space, isn't real. It's a fake medium that can't possibly exist. So, going to the liars about their lie isn't that much use, really. They're purveyors of a fake medium, punting a fake medium, telling you how the fake medium works.
While another
Yes.
in other descriptions will tell you how
Going
you
back
have to have a container
the
for gas
signal
pressure.
that they're getting.
They're not getting a signal.
I was wondering,
they're not getting.
do they?
He didn't seem to acknowledge anything I said. They're not getting a signal.
Okay.
A woman sits at a computer, and the computer gives a readout. They're not showing anything physically returning. They're showing what a woman reads out off a computer after following a process of pressing a few buttons on the computer, whilst at an observatory claimed to be firing lasers at the moon to bounce off reflectors that couldn't possibly be there because they're claimed to have got there by travelling through a fake medium. The return signal is also based on the timings predisposed to them by assuming an Earth radius and manipulation of angles to get the distance in the first place to the moon. They'll then look for the return signal with all of those parameters in place. A presupposition of a spherical Earth that has led them to manipulate angles to work out how far the moon is, to then work out how long they need to wait before they look for the return signal. All of these things are based on an R value, Earth radius, as denoted by your use of the word atmosphere. Atmo meaning air, sphere meaning a fundy presupposition.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think it all went over his head.
No, I think
You're doing a black belt on a kiddie pool, man.
I think he heard the rebuttal and got it.
I don't think we need to ad-hom the guy. He had good questions. They got good answers. He's thanked us. What's the problem?
Yeah.
I don't think he got it.
Everybody got to start somewhere, man.
Oh, God, I've got to do this. I know you're a flat earther as well. Hold on. Is carnival in your vocation? Have you got this crystal ball?
Presupposed radius based on shadow experiments. I got it.
Oh, here we go. I'm just going to tear a strip off a flat earther. I'm really sorry to do it. Why are you divining his thoughts? You don't know what he's understood or not understood. Sorry, go ahead. What was your shadows thing? Sounds interesting.
Oh no, I agree that all this lunar ranging laser experiments is based on presupposed radius.
Yeah. Same as the Venus example yesterday. Do you know where we are in housekeeping? It sounds like we've reached a conclusion.
No, we got two more.
Go ahead.
Any evidence you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon?
Nope.
Oh, hey, Arwen. Didn't see you there.
Hello.
You're behind a dome.
You're presupposing a container. You're presupposing a container. That's what they say.
I
in my
mean,
chat.
literally, my kid's dome that we got him for Christmas, made out of paper, is in the way of the screen, and I couldn't see you because there's a dome in the way. Literally.
Anyone in Discord?
You've been domed.
They love it. It's brilliant.
So was there any claim I heard about pressure gradient in a container, therefore pressure exists next to vacuum? Did somebody claim that?
Where'd you get the pressure from?
Yeah, somebody claimed that the pressure gradient is next to the vacuum and eventually equals out, and that's why it's okay.
Right.
To have
And
gas
did somebody
pressure.
allegedly show an experiment to prove that?
No, of course not.
That's
You
what we're still waiting for.
How would that be equivalent when one's got a container and the other one is a vacuum?
Hold on.
How is
I'm trying to wrap my head around this. So whoever that person is claimed they did experiment. They did what? They had a container and they did what?
They didn't do anything. They put a cartoon up of a picture of Earth under a dome, flat plane, azimuth equidistant projection, versus cartoon of a circle claimed to be globe Earth with a halo around it and arrows pointing down, representing that gas pressure, apparently, according to this idiot, only goes down. That was what you got. No experiment, just a couple of cartoons held up in false dichotomy.
Who are we talking about?
Right, but I thought that somebody did an experiment with a container in the gas and showed a gradient. Did that happen?
That
that
was Hillbilly Blue Balls.
They're not experiments; they're demonstrations. But yeah, there's two.
Right.
There's three now. Because Paul put one on yesterday with a guy who oscillated a frequency. I believe it was an audio frequency through a pipe that had holes in, and you saw multiple gradients of gas that was being set on fire, and you could see that obviously the greater pressure was coming out of the holes that had the highest flames, and vice versa with the lowest flames. And that's most recent.
And did they have like a gigantic pump hooked up at the end of the pipe to suck the air out?
No, it was pumping in gas into a container, just demonstrating a gas pressure gradient. There's a couple of other examples. Maybe that's one. Maybe that's not the one you were referring to. The other example would be Zachary Sabala, otherwise known as Good Times for All YouTuber, GUDTIMS4ALL, and he heated the bottom of a container and had a couple of gauges to demonstrate that he could cool one end of a container, heat the other end, and have a gas pressure gradient within the container. So that was another demonstration.
Right, and did he also have? Sorry to interrupt, but did he also have a gigantic vacuum pump hooked up at the end of the pipe?
No, the pipe example is Hillbilly Blue Balls. So he had transferred butane from a sealed container into a very long pipe that was open at one end. And your question to that would be, did he have a vacuum pump at the end to suck the air? No, he didn't. No. He just had it.
You know what I'm getting with this, right?
Yeah. What you're saying is, if you're going to claim that you can have gas pressure gradients next to a vacuum, then get yourself a gas pressure gradient and suck the air out the top of it and show that you can still have a gradient below it.
Oh man, these people are stupid.
Yeah, they are. They stand in violation of natural law. They may not realise that they do, but they do.
I mean, well, the claim is that you can have a gas pressure next to vacuum, and they don't hook up the pump to suck the air out. I mean, this is just
they can
too
never
much.
demonstrate it. They can never demonstrate it.
The bottom line is they use
what?
Sorry, I just conclude it. The bottom line is they use a pressure gradient, which we do have, as a straw man, or a red herring rather. So they say we do have a pressure gradient, therefore the sky is a vacuum. It's circular reasoning. I believe the sky is a vacuum, and because we have a pressure gradient, that means we've got a sky vacuum. Well, that's all they're doing, inserting their presupposition into something that's obviously and observably the case. The reason we have a gradient is because we have gas created at ground level, and it dissipates as it goes up, gets less because it's not being created halfway up in the sky. However, you need a container in the first instance to maintain any gas pressure whatsoever, gradiated or otherwise. If the sky was a vacuum, the gas which is expanding in all directions, that's why it's going up, getting less because it's not created in the air, it's created on the ground, but it would continue to go up and disappear forever into the void of space if the sky was a vacuum. So as Rebel correctly asserts, if you want to claim that this red herring argument with the straw man, or whichever you prefer, that is the gas pressure gradient we do experience, is somehow justified in saying that above the top of the gas pressure gradient you can have a vacuum, then get yourself a gas pressure gradient and then hook up a vacuum pump to the top of it and pull out all of the air at the top of it and see how long the gas pressure gradient lasts. I assure you, as Rebel will no doubt concur with, all of the gas will disappear as soon as you start sucking it out.
Right, and not just any vacuum pump. Get yourself a big-ass vacuum pump. You know, minus 17 torque, bro.
Is that a technical term?
10 to the minus 17, vacuum. Man.
Technical term.
Why doesn't he do his experiment in NASA's giant vacuum chamber? That's a proper vacuum, right?
Because
Yeah,
apparently
exactly.
that chamber is only made
6
to drop bowling
only.
balls and leaves and things like that.
What happens if you have the pump on, like the vacuum on one side, and then you have air being pumped from the other?
Yeah, that's essentially what Rebel's saying. You've got a terrible mic, by the way, Sex.
I'm sorry.
One last question. Once we're done, we got one last question.
Go ahead.
Are we done?
No, go
right.
ahead.
All right. Any single viable scientific hypothesis in the entire history of either astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics? I'm still waiting from Dr. Becky to reply to me.
Oh God, no.
No.
But come on, what she does is so viable for science, you know. Sitting at her desk, listening to pop music and checking her email, and
Looking at black holes.
yeah,
There is no scientific
there must
evidence
be a
for the sphere
hypothesis
Earth.
somewhere there.
Cosmology, astronomy, and astrophysics are all pseudosciences. There is no scientific evidence for the heliocentric model. There will never be a viable hypothesis from any of those fields ever. There is none in their history, and there will be none in their future.
Hold up. So you're saying I can look at things, but I can't science the things that I'm looking at?
If it's a
Come
phenomena,
on, man.
then yeah, you can science it if you're observing something happening in nature.
Think like things in the sky. Like I can't science the moon? Come on. I want to go science the
You
moon.
can observe
Look at
it.
stuff. I want to
That's all you
look
can
at the
do.
moon and then write science on a piece of paper and write some observations and then say this is science. There you go.
Observation
That's not cool?
Observation is not
Ah.
experimentation. Step 1 in the scientific method: observe a natural phenomena. Observation alone does not make science.
All right. So maybe that's why Michio Kaku says no one in my field uses scientific method. It's all guesswork and leaps of logic and working by the seat of their pants. I mean, that's cool. All right, thanks.
Well, it might be cool, but it's not science, and it's not empirical, and the end result is a just-so story based on seat of your pants and extrapolations in logic rather than empirical data based on experimentation.
Who is Michio Kaku? Is that the dude who admits that he's wrong to the factor of 10 to 120?
Yes,
Is that the guy?
that science has cosmology
Why the
wrong
fuck
by
do
a
we listen
factor
to
of
him? Like, he admits
10
he's
to the
wrong 10 to the
120th
factor
power.
of 120, man. I mean, if somebody admits to you they're wrong 10 to the factor of even 100, I wouldn't want to listen to a single word coming from that mouth again. If they themselves admit they're wrong and they continue to peddle the notion
But
of
he's
gravity.
smiling. When he says it, he's smiling, though.
Speaking of the moon,
When he
Yeah,
says
I
both
know.
quotes, he's
I know
smiling,
that's
actually. Sorry, Paul.
Go ahead, Paul.
I saw this come through on my Facebook feed as posted by David, allegedly Dave, and he made this. I guess he put this meme together. The Tycho crater on the moon is 53 miles across, and the distance from the moon to the Earth is supposedly 238. Look at what the angular resolution or angular size of that would be, and look at what the angular resolution of the eye would be. So technically, here's using math. We shouldn't see the Tycho crater with our own eyes. Am I understanding that right?
Yeah, the angular resolution would be so limited for that particular crater that it would be beyond the angular resolution of your eye, but you can absolutely see that with the naked eye.
Right. Well, and I did the calculations here, so I actually put it in to make sure his math was right. So we got the distance and then the size, and I came up with the same degrees of resolution. So just wanted to point that out. Any ballers got any explanation for that?
Well, they won't, because there isn't any justification for it, but the reason they've come to those conclusions in terms of those numbers, of course, is because they have presupposed Earth is a sphere, and then fudged the mathematics by adjusting the angles that they take the measurements with to force these celestial objects out to astronomical distances, which gets very problematic when you have things that are beyond the angular resolution that you can resolve with your eye being seen on something that's tens of thousands of miles away. Very interesting, Paul. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Hey guys, before I go on mute, this is morning in Canada. I have to go to work, but I'll listen to you and I'll be on mute. But before I go on mute, I have evidence of colossal stupidity, though, from the guy who claimed to dumb down the subject about which he knows nothing about. I mean, to dumb something down, you have to be an expert at it. Don't you agree?
Yeah, if you're taking something complicated and making it more simplistic for somebody of lower intelligence to understand, that would require a higher degree of intelligence and a better understanding of the subject in order to make it more simplistic. Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if somebody claims they're trying to dump something down without knowing the basics of the subject, what does that make them?
Arrogant.
That makes them stupid. And stupid.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
Dunning-Kruger.
Mick West. What a fraud that guy, man. I can't believe it.
I assume you're referring to his discussion with Quantum Eraser, where he was put to task in terms of what science actually is, in terms of what are the constituent parts of a scientific experiment, and he didn't know.
It's unbelievable, man.
And yet claims that he's there as a science communicator, dumbing down science so that people can understand it, when he doesn't understand the constituent parts of an experiment. Pathetic. Dumb, you're right.
What's the greatest part, though, is the way he tried to weasel out of it, saying, you know, oh, I was responding in a way like I would respond to, as if I would have to dumb it down, you know, the way I'm
Okay,
teaching
guys, I'm on mute.
the regular
Show.
people.
Talk later.
Right?
Thanks, Revel.
But he wasn't asked in that context. He was asked himself as a science communicator what the three parts of an experiment were.
And he
just didn't know.
No.
So
didn't have a clue.
Maybe he's here to learn.
No. He was here to declare that he's a science communicator and his aim in life is to dumb down science so that people can understand it. And when asked what science is, he didn't understand. But he's still out there conveying his bullshit, which he's claiming is dumbed down science. It isn't. It's total pseudoscience. It has no scientific validity. He wouldn't know what science was if it bit him in the ass. But he's still out there claiming he's dumbing down science. He's not. He's a pseudoscience salesman, not a science communicator.
So he's not like Virus coming here to learn?
Whoever's typing, the rumpus.
So he's not like Virus coming here to learn when he can't answer a question?
Yeah,
No.
Mick West, I think he was just too kind. QE was a moron, and Mick West was too gentle with him. I don't know why he let QE just spout drivel about Lite not being a wave and things.
well,
Sorry, we were
he's the
talking
one
about
that
his
didn't
total
understand.
lack of understanding when it comes to the three constituent parts of a scientific experiment, and he absolutely did not have an answer for that after declaring that he's there to communicate science, which he isn't. He didn't know what science was.
Oh, he knows what science is. It's a study of the
No, he
physical
didn't.
world, I think we're doing.
No. He was asked what the three constituent parts of a scientific experiment were, and I believe his answer was something like, independent variable and hypothesis. Well, that's incorrect. He didn't know the answer.
no.
He was wrong.
That was later.
Yeah, I agree.
That
He
was
didn't know
after
about
he said, "Oh, I don't know."
experiment. Yeah, he didn't
Sorry,
get that right.
sorry. Can you just repeat that, Rumpus?
I agree. He did not answer that.
Yeah, because he's fucking dumb. Mick West is dumb, and even Rumpus admits it. The guy's thick. He's there claiming he's a science communicator, and even someone as stupid as Rumpus appreciates that he doesn't know what science is and didn't have an answer when he's claiming to be a bloody science communicator. Even Rumpus recognises how dumb and wrong Mick West was.
He's 99% correct.
No, he was wrong. 100% incorrect. Totally wrong. Not 99% correct. Defending him. Why are you white knighting for this retard? Exactly, Rumpus.
He said we're correct.
Why are you
Rumpus?
white knighting for this
Rumpus.
retard?
Rumpus.
He just didn't happen to know.
Was
he
Mick
got
West
his independent
99% correct
variable round the wrong way. That was
when
all.
he said that the R value was based on the standard model? Was he correct then?
The standard model. What's that?
It's your presupposition of a sphere Earth, your fundy belief. That's what the standard model is. Your religious reification of something that is not concrete into our world.
Build on. You build on existing knowledge. So for instance, you kept on asking whether his Earth curve calculator
No,
proved
not
the
really.
value of R.
If
And it
you
doesn't.
if you
It uses
had
the
kept
value of
up
R.
with the flat Earth debate, right, you would have understood
I
by
didn't hear
now
anything. You
that Mick
interrupted me,
West,
so I
the
didn't hear
creator
anything.
of this bullshit calculator, came on here and absolutely admitted that the R value is an assumption based on the standard model.
Again, because you
And that's the
interrupted me.
calculator that you guys all use. So
You're
have
going
fun
to
with
need to
that.
start your question again because you interrupted me.
We're not making a question. We're making a statement.
Try
Mick
again.
West is dumb. He claims to be a science communicator and can't answer what a scientific experiment was.
You
I
can
think that
answer
maybe
but you didn't get
science
the independent variables correct. That's all.
Sorry, he's claiming to be a science communicator and he doesn't know what science is.
You can communicate a lot of science without knowing what the independent variable and experiment are.
That's what? You're telling me that without knowing what hypothesis is, you can communicate science? It's the basis of all science.
Oh, he knows.
Science,
He knows
all
that.
science, shut up, is hypothesis driven. And you're saying you don't need to know what a hypothesis is?
No, I didn't say that. You know I didn't say that. You're lying now. You're making stuff up. So
He
stop
didn't
it.
know what an experiment
I never
was or the
said that.
constituent parts. He
That's
claims to
different
be a
from knowing
science
what a-
communicator, and you're just going to talk over me while you white knight for this little dumb bitch. That'll be Mick West, a dumb bitch who doesn't know what a scientific experiment is. When put to task after declaring he's a science communicator, didn't know what science was.
He does know what science.
He didn't know what science was. It was demonstrated. He was asked what an experiment was, and he didn't know.
He didn't get the dependent and independent variable.
Yeah, that's correct. He didn't know what science was. That's correct. A man claiming to be a science communicator didn't know what science was. That's right, Rumpus.
No, science is about the study of the physical and natural world. It's not necessarily
Yeah,
about
physical and natural world. Yeah, looking at what happens in the physical and natural world. Establishment of cause and effect. Based on hypotheses. Something he didn't understand.
No, it's not about cause and effect.
Yeah, that's what it is. Cause and effect reasoning. That's what the scientific method establishes. A dependent variable being the effect. The independent variable being the cause. That's what science is. A hypothesis being a scientific prediction that establishes your cause and effect.
Science is the study of the physical and natural world.
Yeah, physical and natural world being something occurring. Not observation-based, but experiment-based. Experiment to establish cause. He didn't know what an experiment was. Let's not sidetrack about what experiment is. Mick West didn't know. And as you correctly identified, he had the wrong answer and he's supposed to be a science communicator. He's not. By your own admission, he's a fraud.
No, he got one part wrong, but not...
One part wrong, he should get it all right if he's claiming to be a science communicator. He shouldn't get some of it wrong. He should be absolutely 100% correct in every assertion regarding science if he's going to claim to be a science communicator. He isn't, he's a dumbo.
Einstein got quantum...
I don't care about Einstein. Mick West claims to be a science communicator, and when asked by someone who does know what science is, he hadn't got the vaguest clue what an experiment is.
He has no understanding.
Don't talk about someone else. Mick West, by your own admission, is a dumbo who didn't give the right answer when asked what an experiment is. He gave the wrong answer. How dare he call himself a science communicator? He hasn't got a clue what an experiment is. That was proven. It's a fact. He's not 99% correct most of the time. He was asked what an experiment was. He didn't know. He's wrong. He's a demonstrable fraud.
No, he got a bit of it wrong.
He got some of it wrong. So someone claiming to be a science communicator's getting stuff wrong about science? Why the hell is he communicating stuff wrong?
Einstein got it wrong.
I don't care about Einstein. We're talking about Mick Dumb Fuck West. Yeah? Mick Pseudo-Ramonian 2 Space, a guy who claims to communicate science, and you keep admitting he's getting it wrong.
Hawkins got things.
I don't care about Hawkins. I don't care about Einstein. Yeah? You wanted to white knight for this little bitch. Now you're going to justify why a man who claims to be a science communicator is, by your own words, getting it wrong.
Following your logic, there are no...
No, not following my logic. Why is Mick West getting stuff about science wrong?
I didn't hear that.
Why is Mick West, a man who claims to communicate science, getting stuff about science fundamentally wrong?
In the same way that Einstein got some...
No, not Einstein, you little bitch. I appreciate that you want a white knight for Mick West. Now's your chance. Why is this fuckwit Mick West, who doesn't have the first clue what an experiment is, claiming to be a science communicator and getting stuff wrong about science?
He's 99%.
He's not. He's wrong. Are you going to keep circle jerking and saying he's 99% wrong? He's 99% wrong in this occasion. What, 1% right with his incorrect answer?
Just like Einstein.
No, Mick West was wrong. He is not a science communicator. He's a fraud. If he was a science communicator, he wouldn't be getting it wrong. And by your own admission, he is getting it wrong.
All science communicators in that case. There are no such thing as a science communicator. If you want.
Yeah, you're damn right. Mick West is not a science communicator. Science doesn't have lips. It's a method.
Yeah, okay. Well, if you want to give him the title, if you want to deny him the title science communicator.
Yeah, he's a fuckwit. Fraud, not science communicator. A pseudo-science salesman.
But you get everything wrong, Nathan.
Not me. Mick West, the guy you came to White Knight for.
He gets things 99% right.
No, he doesn't. He got this completely wrong. You trying to say that other things he's got right justifies his incorrect assertions when claiming to be a science communicator and getting it wrong about science. He's just a fraud.
He'll get it right next time.
Oh, will he? Well, what about all the times that he's been tailing everybody wrong up until now? Is he going to take down all his websites? Because he's been getting it wrong. Saying he's a science communicator, it's there on Wiki. The guy's a fraud. He might get it right next time. How dare you? So what? We have a little guess, and if it's wrong, we might get it right next time? No, he's just a fraud.
Said it's correct.
No, he's not correct. He's completely wrong. He got it wrong. He was asked what an experiment was, and the answer he gave was incorrect. He claims to be a science communicator. Mick West is a fraud.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is. If you're going to be a science communicator, you better damn well get it right when asked about science. He didn't, therefore he's a fraud.
Correct.
Yeah, correct, he's a fraud.
99%.
No, incorrect on this occasion. Don't keep telling me about the other stuff he got right. He was asked what an experiment was. He got it wrong. He's not a science communicator. He doesn't know what science is. He is a fraud. Mick West's a fraud.
His description was incomplete.
It doesn't matter what was incomplete about his answer. He didn't get it right. If you're going to claim to know what science is, you better damn well be right when asked what an experiment is. It's a fundamental part of science.
And his websites are entirely...
His websites are based on his incorrect understanding about what science is. He has asserted that his model on his website, based on his begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking curve calculator, is science. He doesn't know what science is.
It's absolutely correct what he's done.
No, he said it was science. He said it to me personally. He's a moron, a demonstrated fraud, doesn't know what science is, and says what's on his science website is legit. It isn't. The man doesn't even know what an experiment is. He's a fraud pseudoscientist claiming to communicate science. But when put to task about what science is, Mick West got it wrong, by your own admission.
You don't need to know what an independent dependent variable are to do what he's done on his website.
Yeah, you do if you're claiming it's science, and he is. He's claiming his model is science. He's a fraud. Independent and dependent variable would form a hypothesis, otherwise known as scientific prediction. If you don't need to know what a scientific prediction is to make models on a website and call them science, then you are simply a fraud who doesn't know what science is. That's Mick West, the guy you're white knighting for.
Mick West didn't give an answer. I said, give me the 3 parts of a scientific experiment. He said, I don't know. Exactly. That's what he said. That was his first answer. Rumpus, you clown.
He's a fraud. Mick West is a fraud. A pseudoscientist.
Fraud and a charlatan. You should be asking quantum.
Yeah, I'll do it nice and calm. Let's stick Rumpus Prick on mute while I make this absolutely bold. I might even though I'm going to stick all of my lights on, go on camera like I did for the other fraud liar known as M. Scott Veach. So let's stick my camera on and say it to camera so everyone knows I'm absolutely 100% serious when I say Mick West is a fraud. The man hasn't got the vaguest clue what science is. When asked what an experiment is, he said he didn't know, but yet claims to be a science communicator. Mick West is a fraud.
Nathan, I'm gonna have to agree with Rumpus on this one
Yes,
point.
he
did get it right.
did.
Wait,
No,
wait,
he
wait,
just didn't get the three
wait,
things
wait.
that you talked
Shut
about.
up. Yes, he did, Rumpus. We heard him. I had a full exposition. He said, I don't know. I'm looking at it right now. Clown.
Yeah, I was there. He said that.
Yeah,
He
you're
said,
going to
"I don't
lie
know."
now, Rumpus. Lie for him. You were white knighting for him. Now lie for him.
As I recall,
I don't care what you recall. You're wrong. He's a fraud and a liar and doesn't know what science is, but claims to be a science communicator. You pathetic little white knighting
99%
bitch.
of what he says is correct.
You're a pathetic little white knight, aren't you? You're defending a man who's indefensible. He didn't know what an experiment was.
Percent idiot, 1% moron. Right?
Why do you
still
why do
think
feel that
you know what else he's talking about, Nathan? He's still white knighting Mick West. He thinks light is a wave. So does the Rumpus. That's what he's
Well,
talking
Mick
about.
West-
Listen to him.
Mick
Right,
West
so
also
according to
said
Razor,
that,
you are the charlatan
that
here.
the R
You
value
do
is
not
based
know
on
right. Shut
an
up.
assumption. So is he right about that
He's
too,
on mute.
Rumpus?
And also, I'd like
Hey,
to
Mr.
say,
Second law doesn't apply to the Earth. What's up with that? What's up with the ad-homs?
I missed. So, what's the question again?
That wasn't a question. It's what you said. I've got thousands of them, by the way. This is the latest. The second law doesn't apply to the Earth.
Yeah. Do you want me? I'll explain that. And you then. Here we go. I'll
No,
explain it to you.
please don't. Fucking clueless.
The Earth is nature. It's a natural law.
What an idiot.
Yo,
Do you want me to
moron, Rumpus.
explain it?
Discovered again?
No, not really,
Where was that law
Rumpus.
discovered again?
Really,
Go back to your
Rumpus?
slobber nurses, right? And ask him to dress you first. Friggin' idiot. Second law doesn't apply to the Earth.
In your debate
My
with him,
word.
he contested that an independent variable was the cause. He said, I know you keep going to these quotes that say the independent variable's the cause, but I contest that. The guy's completely retarded, moron. Rumpus, you're a thicko. You're dumb.
And I want to say that Mick West did get it right. He proved that gas will fill the available volume. Even his own simulator proved that. Remember? I was going to try to get that in there. He did get one thing right.
In his pseudo Mick Westian 2-space model.
Yep, he proved that gas will fill the volume.
Yeah, he proved that they beg the question and assume R. He proved that gas will fill the space. And he proved that he's not in any way competent to communicate science. Fraud. That's what Mick West is.
Rumpus, you're worse than he is. I put Mick West on a higher echelon in scientific understanding than you. Demonstrated over and over again.
Let's get him off mute.
The second law doesn't apply to the Earth. Has got to be one of the most moronic statements ever uttered.
Because you don't seem to understand that it's not an isolated
Oh,
system.
we don't understand.
It's
Shut up.
John,
What?
look at
Where was
his
that
icon.
law?
He's a
Wait, let me ask my question. Where was that
see his
law
icon?
discovered? Where was that law
Hold on a
discovered?
second. Hold on a second. Paul's got a question for the Rumpus.
right. Do you not understand that the Earth is
No,
not?
wait,
right.
wait,
Shut
wait.
up. Paul's
Wait,
got
wait,
a
Do
question.
you hold
Shut
on.
up.
Paul's
No,
asking you a question,
hold on.
Rumpus. Go ahead, Paul.
Where was that law of thermal? Where was the law discovered? Where was it discovered? Where? The location?
Right. The second law of thermodynamics does not apply to the Earth because it's not an isolated system.
Rumpus.
He
That's my
didn't
name.
ask you that, you friggin' idiot.
He's
The
too
second
slow.
law of
It's all right.
thermodynamics.
It's all right. Hold on, Paul.
Where was it
Let me just
discovered?
berate him. Hold on, Paul. He's too slow and stupid and has poor comprehension skills. He couldn't understand your question because he's stupid. Now, I would like you to repeat the question. I appreciate it might take 4 or 5 attempts. We're dealing with people with poor comprehension skills. That's not the question he asked, Rumpus. I appreciate how dumb you are. Try and listen. Go ahead, Paul.
Where was the law discovered? Where was the law discovered?
The second law of thermodynamics does not apply to the Earth.
I'm just going to mute him.
Yeah, he's going to repeat the
He's
same
not
thing.
answering the question.
He's gone to stuck record mode. Just continually assert my assertion and ignore all questions. Yeah, thick. These people are thick. Rumpus is a good example. He can't listen, comprehend, and respond. Just assert zealotry and rhetoric. Ad nausea, indefinitely, most of the time over the top of any decent claims that are being made. He's incapable of actual comprehension. He's a stuck parrot.
Yep. I'll try to ask him. The question put to you, Rumpus, is where was the second law discovered?
The second law of thermodynamics does not apply to the Earth because it's not an.
Yeah, it's just going to.
Okay, let me
he's
ask you
stuck
again.
record, round and round, asserting his zealotry.
The second law of thermodynamics discovered. Rumpus. I'm going to say it again. Where was the second law of thermodynamics discovered?
I'm answering the previous question. I haven't been able to do so yet.
Rumpus. Are you? Yeah, you're retarded.
I would like to answer.
Let me try it again.
He's stupid. He's too
Where
stupid.
was the
His
second
comprehension
law
I'm
of
gonna answer the previous
thermodynamics
question.
discovered?
And I'm
Oh
going
my
to
God.
answer-
Okay.
It's just too
Where
stupid to do
was
it.
the second law of thermodynamics discovered? Rumpus.
Don't you like me invalidating your question?
Where
Don't
was
you
the
like-
second law of thermodynamics discovered?
He's
And
scared.
don't you like me exposing
He's
you?
scared of
idiots
the
by
question.
showing
He's
you
scared.
Where was
why-
the second
He's
law
scared.
of thermodynamics
And
discovered
why
last
doesn't the
time
second
before
law
you get
apply
kicked?
to the Earth?
He's scared of the
Quantum?
question, Rumpus. He's scared of it.
Just
It's a
answer
scary
the question, Rumpus.
Scary
Man.
question for him. It's because it's a scary question. He's terrified by the question. That's why he won't answer.
Where
Why
was the
doesn't-
second law of
Um,
thermodynamics
You
discovered,
answer the
Rumpus?
first question, Quantum. Why?
He's scared of it.
I'm
He
done.
keeps talking
That's
about the
it.
previous question. He's too scared. He's terrified.
Disconnect. He's out of here.
Too scared.
Yep. Can't answer a question. I asked him about 8 times. Can't answer it.
Well done.
Paul
Good
asked him
question,
3.
Paul.
That's about 10.
Good question, Paul.
Hello,
The
boys.
answer was the Earth, right? That was
Yeah,
the
of
answer?
course. It's a natural law.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's nice torturing them.
Obviously.
Can I just get Paul to make his point in that regard, though?
Well, it's discovered in the world that we live in, which is the Earth. So I guess it would have to apply to the Earth, you would think. Because if you discovered here, then it would apply to here, right?
What a natural law
But
talking
they-
about
but they-
nature. Would a natural
try to
law
apply
talking
the
about nature
okey-doke.
would a natural law talking about nature apply to Earth? Yeah, it would, yeah. What's that,
We all
Rumpus?
heard the
Doesn't apply to
okey-doke
Earth?
trying to come up, right?
Say again, I rumpused you, sorry. Chocolate.
No, I said we all heard the okey-doke he was trying to build out of that, right? It doesn't apply because it only applies to isolated systems.
Yeah. It's just,
Really, Rumpus?
yeah.
We might as well
What have I
smash
missed?
that. So the second law of thermodynamics is described using isolated systems, something that doesn't actually exist in nature, to simplify the law, a very complex law, I might add. Same goes with gas law. There are no ideal gases in the same way there are no isolated systems. To say, it only applies to isolated systems, therefore doesn't apply to Earth. What? Your open system next to a vacuum? Yeah, that's because if you had the second law of thermodynamics applying in nature, which it does, the gas would fill the space, and we wouldn't have any gas to breathe. So therefore, you've got to assert that a natural law doesn't apply to nature. Yeah, what a crock of crap. The worst possible rebuttal you could have. Natural law doesn't apply to nature. That's his reply. Because if it did, the gas would fill the space.
Exactly.
Yep. And he's not the first one who's tried it. I'm sure he won't be the last, but good fail.
Hello.
Hey, Ranty, good to have you. Right at the end of the live show as well.
What's up, Ranty?
304 people
I think
watching.
Ranty has a new
Wowzer.
clip for. I think Ranty has a new winner for his contest, Nathan.
Oh, most triggered of the year. Did you want to announce that before I round out the live show?
Oh, we've got a
It's
winner.
gonna be a good
Well,
clip.
Me shouting out Mick West's a fraud. That's not me triggered. That's me demonstrating verbally my utter disdain for a total fraud known as Mick West.
was that today?
Just, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, when Rumpus says that Mick West is 99% right, I was curious. Was Mick West right when he said that the R value is an assumption based on a model? Was he right about that? Because you guys, for plenty of episodes, were using his calculator to prove your fucking presupposed ball. But now he admits that it's a presupposition based on a model. It's an assumption.
And with that, I'll say if you're watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you're watching live on Nathan Oakley 1980, then a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you tuned in. Smash the super chat. Talking of smashing the super chat, I'm sure there was a few super chats that I should actually read out before I round out the live show. I'm not well. That's what I'm blaming. So shout out to Retro Bill, who says Rakia Life. Also, shout out to Alexander. Speaking of Michiu Kaku, in suburban language, the term look at Kaku literally means look at the poop, preferably dog poop. Learn Serbian. Thank you very much for the super chat, Alexander. Really appreciate his support. Also, shout out to MC Universe, Sacred Truth Seeker, who says, I'm on pot, shoes for more. Okay, I don't understand, but thank you very much for your support. Really appreciate it. Shout out to Lightwave, last but by no means least, who says, even if there was a molten iron core spinning causing magnetization, heated iron loses magnetism. Am I wrong? No, you're not wrong. You're absolutely correct. It's called the Curie point. So yes, thank you very much indeed, Lightwave, for your support and super chat. Once again, another huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the people who made this live show possible on Discord and G+. Stay tuned if you're watching on Nathan Oakley premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!